Hey guys, welcome back. So for this one, with us getting into Ultimate Invasion Part 4, the conclusion, this wraps up the 4-issue miniseries that has been setting things up for the Ultimate Universe one-shot coming in November. So just as a heads up, the Ultimate Universe one-shot, that's going to be the introduction for a number of other series established in this new Ultimates universe that we have yet to know the titles of, now in October at the time of this recording. But once that one-shot rolls out and the universe gets rolling, this 4-part series that we're wrapping up now, Ultimate Invasion, it's going to act like a sleeper for quite some time before a lot of this stuff comes back around full circle. Cause I imagine after this, Hickman's gonna let things get normal for a while, until next thing you know, all of this comes back. But I say that to say this conclusion for Ultimate Invasion, it's not your traditional style conclusion where everything's wrapped up and everything's answered, but instead just think of it as a mini-series that is lighting a number of fuses that people will catch when they go off later on if they read Ultimate Invasion. Much like what we saw with the X-Men with House of X and Powers of 10, same concept. And it's really where Hickman shines. So with that said, longest intro ever. So with that said, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week. And don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so to start this out, we're diving right back in where we left off, when the Maker brought Howard Stark to the deepest section of the city to meet Earth 6160 Reed Richards, who would be Howard's assistant, while he's here building the Maker a new Immortus engine, since the last one that the Maker used to manipulate the timeline of this world was damaged. So after this, sometime later, with the Maker leaving Howard to work alone with his assistant Reed, 6160 Reed, who is also Doom, starts to tell Howard, "I know secrets," which is funny to me for some reason. It's the way he's doing it. And at first, though Howard is more focused on getting this done, he more or less works to a stopping point before asking Reed what kind of secrets does he know. So Reed tells him neither one's whispered, nor murmurs of the discontent, or rumors that take the root and become truth. No, these are the best secrets, the sins the great Maker holds deep in his heart, which then has Howard like, okay, I'm listening. And then he leans in to tell Howard, "I know where he is from. I know how he made the world as it is now. I have seen it with my own eyes, and until now, have had no one to share it with. But now I have you, Howard." And after that, Reed leans back, asking Howard, "Do you want me to show you?" And Howard tells him, "Absolutely. But first things first, because when he finishes the Immortus machine, they just might have all the time in the world for that." But also, with how this is done, we end up jumping forward sometimes, so we don't get to hear all the juicy secrets. But instead, for the time that we are here, we see Reed telling Howard about how the Maker tortured him, and how Reed found out that the Maker was listening in during that time, and it comes off like Reed is actually saying that he's going to show Howard how they can communicate, so that to listening ears, it would sound like Reed is just going on and on about information that the Maker really wouldn't care if Howard knew. At least that's how it seems, because for us looking in, it's intentional that we miss a lot of this conversation. But as we go forward, the signs begin to show one after the other. Because later we see Howard Stark getting ready to give the Maker the Immortus engine that he'd built, but before he does, him and Reed have a bit of an exchange, where now it's clear that they have a plan in place, because Reed's a bit nervous. He thinks either something could go wrong, or this moment could be goodbye. So Howard tells him he understands, he feels the same way, but it's gonna be okay. I'll see you on the other side. Which, again, with us knowing that some kind of plan is in place, I want you guys to keep in mind the conversation that we saw in the last issue when Howard had a moment with his son Tony after Obadiah's funeral and before he met Reed, when Howard told Tony about the Maker. Because like we saw throughout that conversation, we had moments like Tony telling Howard that he could help, and Howard telling him, "If I need you, I'll let you know." But also, back then, Howard told Tony that he has some ideas as far as what he's going to do about the Maker, but he's still getting to the edges of where he might start. Because now, Howard is stepping over that edge, and he's taking action. Because it's here where Howard gives the Maker the Immortus machine that he'd built, where we also see Reed taking a letter that's addressed to Tony as he activates his hologram suit and walks out the door, showing us two sides of this plan playing out simultaneously. And now with the Maker inspecting the Immortus machine Howard brought him, he tells Howard, "You've built it, the machine that will enable me to do all the things that I've done already, a way to make this world into the wonder that it now is." Only for Howard to tell him, "No, I simply copied it, made one of my own." a better version if I do say so myself. Cause for the Maker who wants Howard to believe that this Immortus engine is going to stop this monster from the future who sent their recent attackers, to Howard, the Maker is just as much of a monster. And at the same time that they're having this talk, Reed is planting power conduit terminators that he can remote activate to let down the shields to the city as he makes his way out. And right when this happens, Howard tells the Maker how he's no different from this monster in the future and that the Maker doesn't deserve him, but they deserve each other. As the temporal shield to the city goes down, allowing Kang and his forces to make their way inside, completely violating the Maker's safe space. And as planned, Reed makes his way out, locking the Maker inside with Kang and Howard as well. So to defend the city, the Maker sends out the Children of Tomorrow, who from what it seems like, and really just at a first glance, because we're not told much about these Children of Tomorrow, but at a first glance, these guys look a lot like their 1610 counterparts, who the Maker initially put in place for evolution and ultimately world domination. And come to think of it, seeing the Children of Tomorrow here, it's pretty crazy, because it now has me thinking of the dome on Earth 1610, where 5 minutes for the outside world would be 900 years inside the dome, which at the time allowed the Children of Tomorrow and the Maker to create insane technological advancements like the city, which was an artificially intelligent, self-aware city that only got more advanced inside the dome in the span of 900 years, which again was 5 minutes to the outside world. And that's not to say that on Earth 6160 that the Maker is bringing back all of this here in the same way that he had it before, but I had to mention it after seeing the Children of Tomorrow inside of this city, because the amount of coincidences are just insane. But as Kang's forces and the Children of Tomorrow are just going head to head, the Maker asks Howard if he's decided to play his own game. But Howard lets him know that this isn't no kind of game. He's just doing what he believes he needs to do because the Maker needs to be stopped. And the way the Maker sees it, Howard's being childish and he's acting like the world he just found out about just happened. But right after this, the Maker, he goes for Kang. And Howard's like, okay, everybody's locked in, engaged in their quiet war. All I have to do is, and then bang, he's hit by one of these Thors, followed up by a kick from Giant Man, causing him to fall, dropping the device as a 1 minute countdown begins for the Immortus engine's critical breach. Meanwhile, over with Kang, who we've had quite the conversation about as far as trying to figure out this guy's identity. And unfortunately, we don't get the full confirmation here, but we do get a number of hints that build on top of what we got so far. Because when Kang and the Maker spot each other, Kang says, "I've waited 2 lives for this moment, and now that moment is here." As him and the Maker clash like it's Mortal Kombat 1 and the stage is loading. And you know when the stage loads and one of them hits the other? Yeah, we get that too, because Kang bops the Maker on the head so hard that he gets a flashback into the future. And it makes sense here, because after that hit, the Maker's like, "Thank you for that." Pain clarifies, and suddenly, I remember you. Which now takes us to a moment that is in the Maker's past, back when he traveled to the far future to see how long the changes he had made would have lasted or if they had eventually become undone, only for this trip to take the Maker directly to Kang, with this being the furthest point that he was able to travel to in the future. And at first sight, the Maker didn't know what exactly to make of Kang, so with Kang calling him by name and telling the Maker that he's been expecting him, this had the Maker like, for revenge, reverence, what are we doing? Who am I to you? And here, in this moment, which is effectively the past for the both of them, Kang told him, "You are my Maker, and what you now witness is my origin," as Kang just blasts half the Maker's head off, which is what has caused him to have this terrible memory, with this being the moment that he got that wound that he revealed to Howard Stark back in Ultimate Invasion issue 2. But back inside the city, the Maker tells Kang, "I remember, I know who you are," as a voice from above says, "So do I, and I'm putting an end to it," as we see Howard Stark with a device in his chest getting ready to go critical, which has the Maker like, hey, what are you doing? As Kang just says, "Isn't it obvious? He's solving 2 problems at once. Just look at him. Look at how righteous he is. It's like looking through the fog at some hazy remembrance of what," and Howard stops him right there saying, "Nope, it's like looking into a mirror and hating what you see," as he detonates, blasting Kang and the Maker, as well as all of their men, as the clock continues to count down and we head over to Reed, who's in the Maker's castle, still in Latveria. where we find him taking the original broken Immortus engine while saying, "I made a promise, so why do I hesitate? Is it because I have to consider this might be another prison for me, one where the walls are made of obligation and not punishment, and all-consuming in a way that my previous cell could never be?" And as he places the original broken Immortus engine in a case next to that note addressed to Tony, Reed says, "Something broken for someone broken. Who can say? The choice I leave to better angels." And as he leaves, we continue to see the clock count down from 15 seconds as we head back to the city in the aftermath of the blast, where we find Howard Stark crawling out of his armor and unmasking Kang, where again we don't see Kang's face. All we get is the reaction of Howard Stark, which could be interpreted a number of ways, as the countdown reaches 1 with Howard still inside as we see Reed leave Latveria, which just has me thinking, because this issue is intentionally cryptic with a lot of things, but with this being the last that we're seeing of Howard Stark for a while, it just has me thinking, like, had he not run into the complications with Thor and Giant Man when the countdown hit 1, was he supposed to be on the other side, like outside? Like, yeah, over the course of time there's gonna be a ton of questions that we're just gonna be looking for answers for as the new Ultimate stuff rolls out. But after this, 1 week later, still in Latveria, it's here where we see the Maker's Illuminati trying to make sense of what exactly is happening here. Cause with the Maker missing this whole week, they're trying to figure out if this is some part of his elaborate plan to disappear and kill them. They are just completely in the dark. So for a moment here, they talk about what they do know as far as the dome, the city itself, and how it's been closed off this past week. Cause at some point before, the Maker told them when it originally appeared and was up for a month, that 1 month for the outside world was 1,000 years inside. And there was a time when the Hulk, for instance, asked the Maker before if that ratio of time was constant. So if 1 month is 1,000 years, is 3 months 3,000 years? Only for him to have the Maker smile in his face and say, "Some secrets are mine and mine alone." Which for a moment, hearing that has these guys all over the place, because they assume that it's going to be 2 years before it opens up. So they're thinking, do we wait and just keep doing what we're doing, or do we just tear it down? But eventually they address the American Union, which originally was represented by Obadiah Stane, who's now dead, and after him Howard Stark, who's missing. So they end up deciding to just split it up, to where from there they take a vote to see who gets what. And after this, we make our way to Stark Tower, where Reed has now given Tony the contents of the briefcase. And he lets Tony know the world was ending, the future colliding with the now. Temporal kings were being overthrown, and the multiversal evils were being undone. But bringing these things to you was my most important task. And we find out at this point, Reed and Tony have already repaired the broken Immortus engine. He's given Tony access to secret files, and Tony's read the letter from his father. And as it stands, Reed has a notion of where this could go. He sees the suits everywhere, he knows there's potential, but even still he tells Tony that the choice is his as far as what he decides to do. But before Tony does anything, he asks Reed, is his father dead? But Reed's not able to give him a straight answer because there's too many variables as far as what could have happened back there. So for a moment, Tony pauses before telling Reed, "I'm gonna need a suit." Which right there just makes me want to cue some Tony Stark music. Either that or the intro to CSI Miami. I can't tell the difference. So from here, next, Tony puts the Immortus engine that him and Reed have repaired into this next suit, while saying it'll need to handle temporal shear and need some kind of integrated navigational control, as Reed continues to assist Tony, much like how he assisted his father, while also making suggestions to Tony, telling him that this suit should also be a weapon. And as they finish up, Reed asks Tony if he's going to call himself Iron Man after his father, but Tony tells him no. For now, he'll just be called Iron Lad, at least until he's earned a better name, which, yeah, gotta say, last time I saw Iron Lad, he found a better name alright, and it was Kang. But I mean, I'm not gonna jump into any conclusions, just reiterating my theory from the last video. But after this, Reed and Tony go forward, using the confidential information that Reed brought, which are the Maker's files, to make their way through time into the past to find some of the things that the Maker could not. And as they venture to the past in this icy area, we're shown the letter written by Howard Stark, as it reads, "My dearest Anthony, I am so tired of this world. I am so tired of the people in it, of what they accept and of what they've become. But I know the fault was mine. Maybe more than most because of my gifts and the means that came with them. I was so wrapped up in the good things I was doing, the work and the bounty that work provided us, that I didn't care enough to notice what was really going on in the world I was shaping. I know now that it is a false, fallen world that we paint as good enough, but under its skin we all know it's rotten to the core. And on reflection, almost all of the things I've made do nothing but support these systems that reduce men and women to pawns and playthings, to workers and consumers, to servants and slaves. All the things I have made are tainted with the patina of evil, all of them but one, and that is you. If this has found its way to you, then I'm gone, and I've left you in a world that is no place for the innocent, but only innocent eyes can see it for what it could be. Remember, Anthony, it's never too late to change the world around you. You just have to fight, and you have to win. As we see Reed and Tony make their way to find the lost, frozen Captain America of this new Ultimates universe, which just has me thinking, like, is he gonna be like 1610 Captain America? Cause if so, hopefully we see him put the paws on Hank Pym again. And I mean, not that I'm instigating nothing, but who am I kidding? I am. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/DopeSpill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts and theories down in the comments below, because you can already tell this is going to be a wild ride. So let's talk about it in the comments until we get into Ultimate Universe. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Now I'll catch you on the next one. Alright, later.